Hello and welcome to the WaterBear podcast. This is our inaugural episode. I am your host with the most during your show, Oxy. So, it's about time that we actually launch this show. Today I'm unfortunately on the mic solely by myself, but that's because I wanted to just have a sit down and get to know a little bit more about my listeners, give you a bit more of an idea of who I am and what the intention for WaterBear is going further, and then perhaps maybe even divulge a little bit of information about some of the projects that myself at Oxydize Media are currently working on. So, let's get straight into it. I would normally go ahead with just providing a synopsis of myself, but I figured that's old and outdated. Let's start from square one. My name is Oxy. Those of you who don't know me, or this is your first time hearing my voice, I can guarantee you that I am a real person and I do have a human body. Whether or not you actually get to see it completely depends on where you're from. Because you see, I am from South Africa. That has a very diverse and in-depth pool of local content creators, professional gamers, people in technology spaces, even just really good like AI and automation specialists, all of which are really incredible and talented people that I hope to eventually get to feature and have an interview with on the show. So that's something to look forward to. If you guys have other fan favorites that you would like to recommend for interviews, please go and DM us. Reach us on our X page, Instagram, on TikTok, on YouTube. Heck, we're even on Threads. You can even Discord DM me, honestly. But that's enough showboating about. Let me get a little bit into the most recent project that I've been working on. I've had a recent renaissance inspiration when it comes to producing new content on YouTube. See, previously, I had a dear friend of mine who goes by the name of Free Cade, and also, of course, big credit and big ups to Cade for actually coming up with the name for the WaterBear podcast. You are forever the honorary owner of this show. And should you ever wish to feature on it, I guarantee you I will make the time and the space and the accommodations for you to make sure that we have a grand old time. So I had the recent foresight to start producing a continuation of the Ballad of Gregory Stanley, as I so put it. For those of you unfamiliar, and for our audio listeners, Gregory Stanley originally featured as an editor and a producer on the Oxydize YouTube channel. Of course, Gregory started out as just a regular old joke character, the circumstances of which are actually quite strange. See, I was sitting alone in my studio, upon which a moth landed on my index finger on my right hand, and I just dubbed the moth at that moment Gregory on the spot. And, well, from that point on, anytime that I needed to remind myself to cut anything out during the editing process, or even if I just needed someone to blame for edits going wrong, video recording going wrong, and or just general noise or like insert weird skit here, Gregory was the name that became the go-to. Of course, during the long and arduous process of running a YouTube channel for nigh on 9 years now, Gregory went through various iterations, developments, and changes to his character. Chief among which, the man himself has gone through various iterations and changes of his character, personality, and even his art. Previously, Gregory started out as just a regular old post-production editor at Oxydize Media LLC. Eventually, he was promoted to producer in a random joke where I was like, I need the my producer told me that everything is fine. I don't know, the idea of yelling at a producer seemed funnier than yelling at an editor at the time, on account that I was editing my own stuff, so having a producer to blame for everything was the peak of comedy, I'm sure. The most recent change to Gregory's personality and character arc, however, came the time when I decided to make the big step and actually start making content for TikTok. Previously, I was not on the app and believed that it was absolute brain rot, which it turns out my foresight was correct, and I may have predicted the future in that, but please, no credit to me on that. I'm sure many other people did predict that as well. When I finally decided to join onto TikTok, the first couple of videos that I produced at the time were actually related to the Dream SMP. However, things started to change eventually when I stumbled across those, create yourself as a fighting game character challenges. And I just had the idea of, what if I took Gregory and actually made him a fighting game character? And then that's when the whole him being a news anchor comes from. That's where he becomes a serial killer as well. It was also entirely a one-shot joke that ended up carrying over and actually defining his entire character. The funniest thing to me as the creator of Gregory Stanley as a character is that he himself is just one big retcon. His entire character arc was just a retcon upon a retcon upon a retcon upon a retcon. And the funny thing is that because his character was so ambiguous and had so little actual lore defined about him, aside from the fact that he was an editor and was a producer and then was a news anchor on TikTok, that I actually also used to helped promote some of my Twitch streams when I started on Twitch. At that point, Gregory was still the news anchor, and then at some point, the joke became like he was a character in a fighting game, and when left idle, Gregory would pull a revolver out of his pocket, check if it was loaded, put it back away, and then resort back to his fists. But then in a later iteration of Gregory as the fighting game character, we actually see him holding that same revolver pistol in the hand in the same stance, almost like he's going to pistol whip people with it. And then that's when I decided the whole gag of him being like a serial killer on the side, and that's kind of the reason why he hasn't been like chased away from the network and why he's still got the job as a news anchor. It's because everybody knows what he is capable of and nobody dares to cross him, because he, at least in universe, has shot people on set during live news broadcasts, which is just the absolute peak of hilarity and absurdity. But that was always the whole idea with Greg. Greg was always supposed to be a larger-than-life character. Gregory was always a foil to Oxy. Not Oxy myself, host, who is sitting down and having a discussion one way with a microphone today. But Oxy is the character that features in the videos that have been recently uploaded to my YouTube channel. And because let's be honest, who runs a podcast has loads of money, right? We do it to try and make money. Of course, I'm kidding as well. There are many very successful people out there with podcasts willing to share their secrets. I am not one of them. I'm just here to have a good time, have a conversation, and then, of course, explore the successes of some of my peers. Oxy was always an exploration of that worst part of me. As my friend Cade always puts it, it's the rich, like, famous asshole routine, as they put it. Everything that flows out of my mouth at that point is purely improv, and you people may not believe me, but every single YouTube video that I have uploaded to date, every single TikTok video that I have uploaded to date has been not scripted. It's been a spur-of-the-moment, last-minute kind of thing. Admittedly, probably very much to my own downfall and my own detriment, but I feel like that's part of the magic, because I feel in those moments when I am essentially just channeling this fictional person, right, through my musical, I am capturing that lightning in the bottle. I am capturing that magic that is that persona. And that's what I always loved about my style of content. And I feel like it's what's very unique about my spin and my brand of content as well. I'm going to level with you. The only thing that I wrote a script for was the trailer for this show. And even still, I went off script for that. Structure does not suit my brain well, being someone who is full-time ADHD victim. My most recent project is the lead-up to the story of what happened to Gregory. Because if you have watched the videos, beware potential spoilers, by the way, you'll see that Gregory is made mention of, and that there is a new company that steps into the fold called AMT. So essentially, this company was founded by Gregory after his absence at my YouTube channel, which, if you are a longtime fan, will notice was around 2019 or thereabout, which started with my endeavors and my dive into the YouTube live space. And let me tell you, that was honestly quite something. And it sparked a passion in me for live entertainment, live format content. And then, I mean, by December of that same year, I was affiliated, and I was making some decent money off of it. And I mean, from there, Twitch was obviously one of the best decisions I made in my career. Well, I say career very lightly and very liberally, of course, in air quotations, which you can't see. I love my audio listeners. Video listeners, you guys don't exist because there's no video of this. Gotcha. Thanks to my direction of traveling to Twitch, that is actually when I got fully connected and engaged with the local ZA community, because previously I only knew the few people who were doing their things on YouTube and, trying to share it between, like, small communities on Facebook. After that, that's when I really started to get noticed in the scene, showing up to some more and more interesting, talented people's content and their streams, and getting recommended to people, word of mouth. And then, of course, in October of 2021, I made the massive decision to get myself on Twitter again, after having a childhood account with a old cringy username that you guys probably can find and dig up somewhere, and find some of the cringy old Twitter posts that I made there, but I am not going to reveal that for you. Your work starts now. Go and find that old Twitter page, go and post to it, or go and send it a DM saying, lol, found it. Winner gets an acorn. And then, of course, there's some other things that you guys can start digging up and digging into as well. This is the first and the only time that I'm publicly going to say this and even mention it. I'm not going to reveal anything about it, though. Yes, the current content that I am producing and the current series that follows the AMT interviews of Oxy, of the OEM, is related to an ARG. There are a lot of secrets hidden all over the place on all of my socials, not just YouTube or Twitter. You need to look deeply. You need to check everything. And more than that, I am not going to say, because honestly, this is some of the best work that I think I've done, and I am really happy and proud with how the project is going so far. And remember, as of the time of recording this still is an ongoing project. There is still fresh content that has to be made and produced for this. Of course, I've got an outline, a thick document here on my desk. As you can hear, it's not that thick, but I do have a document on my desk stating the clues, the facts, the storyline so far, the plans, where to take it further on, a whole lot of other secrets, interesting like tidbits, and a bunch of lore that you guys are going to have to dig up. You guys are going to be routed all over the place, and I will give you one hint, and only one hint. There is an article somewhere that you will find along your journey that is encoded using Enigma machine encryption. So what you're going to do at said point is go to cryptii.com, that is cryptii.com, and then their Enigma machine decode option should be a standard setup that should give you the answers that you're looking for. But if you are not finding that the encryption is working correctly, I'm going to reveal the settings that I use in order to cipher it. It is a M3 model Enigma machine using a UKWB reflector. Rotor 1 is in I position, with the position at 1A and ring at 1A. Rotor 2 is I with position 1A and ring 1A. Rotor 3 is 1, or Rotor 3 is I with position 1A and ring 1A. When I say I or 1 in rotors, I meant Roman numeral I. So rotor 1 is Roman numeral 1, rotor 2 is Roman numeral 1, and rotor 3 is Roman numeral 1, with all the positions and all the rings being in 1A. The plug board setting was left blank, and please note, and this will be important for actually being able to read what it says, make sure that you enable foreign characters included, and you will find everything that you are looking for. And of course, that's actually a good website to bookmark and keep on hand for the rest of the stuff that is coming relating the OEM ARG. And once again, for my friends that did miss it the first time, that is cryptii.com. cryptii.com. That actually sums up today's episode of the WaterBear podcast. There is nothing else that I think I want to divulge about my content. As for the rest of the stuff that you want to know about me, well, we're either going to have to figure it out. And note that the WaterBear podcast is available wherever podcasts are found. It is available on Spotify and Anchor, and it is now available on YouTube Podcasts and on Google Podcasts. So please tell your friends, tell them to subscribe to the show. We have got some big plans that we're going to be bringing here, and I hope you guys will be here for the journey. As for that, I am your host, Oxy, as always, and I hope you guys had a great time, because I sure as hell did. And goodbye.